And go. Okay, we're recording.
All right, thanks, Jackie. All right, well, welcome everybody to special edition of MVP Office Hours. I'm Jerry Kingston. I'm a solution architect with Imperio and Salesforce. One of my co-leaders, Jackie Argento. Jackie, want to introduce yourself real quick?
Jared, I think we lost you.
All right. So, as I said, today is a special edition of MVP Office Hours where we've teamed up with the Salesforce admin team to do a special month of Lightning edition of the Office Hours. So we're really focusing here on any and all questions you have around Lightning experience that you'd like to have answered based on what you just heard in the release. Across. Just to kind of give you a lowdown. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at MVP Office Hours, and I should actually update this. It should be mvpofficehours.info, and then we'll take you to our success community page. All right, so just some quick lay of the land for MVP Office Hours. We usually do this the first and third Friday of every month. September's been a little bit different for us, but you'll see that going forward, first and third Friday. This is an open Q&A discussion. We call it kind of answers live. There's really no question too small here, so feel free to speak up or raise your hand within the meeting, and we will get to you as soon as we can. You can also post in the chat questions, and we'll get to you. We record this, and we'll post it out to Twitter as well as the community. So all we ask is that you please mute your lines if you're not speaking. That way we can hear the questions and answers clearly. And then, just announce yourself when you're asking a question or answering a question, just so everybody kind of knows who you are. And yeah, everyone's welcome to share experiences. We have a lot of MVPs on the call today. But even if you're not an MVP and you have Lightning experience, feel free to chime in, because this is what the community is about. So with that being said, let's kick off the call. So who wants to? There's always got to be a guinea pig here to start off with the first question. So who wants to kick us off today? And don't be shy.
Has anybody on the call who is listening already gone to Lightning? And if you've gone to Lightning, are you struggling with something?
Hello, this is Carlos here.
Hi, Carlos.
Hey, good to be here. First of these calls that since I became MVP myself last Monday. Very excited to be here.
Congratulations.
Awesome. Yeah, congrats. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, I've been playing with the Lightning. I did all the badges. I have a couple orgs, event up orgs, GSO. And I was looking for, if I guess if you get a brand new customer, if a brand new environment, I would go straight to Lightning. I will never look back into Classics. That's the general consensus.
You almost don't have a choice anymore, Carlos. We had a brand new customer, Salesforce, and they shoved them right into Lightning Experience. And you have to explicitly go through a setting to turn it off to be able to go into Classic. So everyone basically, going forward, if they sign up with Salesforce brand new, they get My Domain turned on, and they have Lightning Experience on by default.
Yeah, that's what I thought, because if you see the matrix in there for things that still have not made it to Lightning, they still only in Classic. To be honest with you, there's some of them I probably never use it. So in my mind, if you want to start for clean, you start slowly with the simple things, and then you start to get a sophistication so that you can increase the user adoption for the product. It's just a thought, because right now I'm talking to a lot of different companies. I'm actually on the market, so a lot of them ask exactly the same thing. Oh, we don't have a Lightning, but we're going to. What do you think? I think you should go in there as soon as possible, because anything new from Salesforce is going to compare much to Lightning.
I would agree. And you would tackle that the same way as if you were kicking up a brand new classic org. You're not going to turn everything on and roll everything out at once. You're going to start out with the basics that are needed and to build your adoption and build your momentum. So I think it's the same philosophy. It's just this: start with classic because it'll be clean.
Okay, thank you.
That's what I would do. That's how I would approach it.
Okay.
Awesome. And I think Susan, you had your hand raised. Did you have a question or something you wanted to put out to the call?
I was curious how many people had run the Lightning Experience Migration Assistant. Because if you are looking at Lightning, I do find that is a really good first step to check to see how close you are to converting to Lightning. That was when everyone was quiet and I was trying to get the ball running.
That's a really good question.
Yeah, anyone on the call, has anyone on the call done the Lightning Migration Assistant? Joy, you got your hand raised.
I do. So I started running the Lightning migration when it first rolled out, when it was a really sad looking Excel spreadsheet, and it's migrated it's gotten a lot better. But since then, I probably run it. I had been running it like every month to see like if my to-do list got shorter. Knock out a couple things and then run it again the next month. And I'm at a point now where the stuff that's left on my list is so minute, my users aren't going to notice it anyway. And I've been trying just to, and then I started rolling out the service Lightning also stuff, because my service team isn't ready yet, but my sales team is coming on. I think I've got about half of them on board with the option to use Lightning right now, and I keep adding like one new user like every 3 days or so, and then they're crowdsourcing each other for help on that. But it seems to be going well, and I don't have a very complex org right now, so but I just keep running that. And the thing is, like, after the winter 18 release comes through, I think I'll probably run it again and hope that like it's all gone. But I don't know.
Joy, I absolutely love that approach. And as I'm listening to you to say that and describe it, like all of the anxiety that would come from the result of an executive saying, we're switching to Lightning and we're going to do it tomorrow. If you're ready for that and your laundry list of things keeps shrinking, that would just reduce so much anxiety and fear of what's going to break when you're trying to rush to switch.
Right.
I love that.
And because the Lightning improvements are happening faster than the releases, like it's really important to keep going back and revisiting that, because sometimes the changes come through and there's not a lot of hubbub around it, but all of a sudden you're like, it's not on my to-do list anymore. This is fantastic. So
I love that. Thank you.
Sure.
Right. Well, got a lot of brain power on this call, so use it wisely.
We've got, okay, so Ali is telling me that his microphone isn't working, but he's got a question that he says he's tried. Okay, so he has an SAML issue. He's trying to make sure that his client won't lose the single sign-on authentication with the new release. He said it's a bit confusing about the proxy.salesforce.com. So does anybody have any resources we can point him to? Because I think he's gone through all of the information that Salesforce has provided, but he's having some trouble.
This is Susan. I use single sign-on, and I thought the guide was really quite helpful to determine whether you would be affected by that. I'm not sure. It sounds like he's gone through all the steps, and you should be able to see whether you have where your certificate is coming from.
Susan, are you able to get to a quick link for that guide that we can drop in the chat for him?
Let me look for it. 1 second.
Okay, he says the main issue is with the IDP login URL. The one listed in the system is from the prior consulting firm. Do I need to update that? Okay, Ali, we'll get you a link for the information that Susan was referring to and see if that's something other than what you've been referencing. Okay, anyone else have questions? Were you all able to attend the release readiness that came just before this call to listen to Jillian and team there talk about all the new stuff that's coming out?
I did hear some of that stuff. It's pretty good. Inline editing.
Yes.
Fantastic.
And
I was most excited to see the Lightning Report Builder that's coming in beta.
Yes, that was
Finally.
awesome.
Yes, finally.
I was going to ask, does Steve Moe have any comments on the Report Builder beta coming soon to a theater near you?
I did not get a chance to see the preview, but you had me at reports. You had me at reports.
You're going to love it. You're going to love it.
I think my favorite part about the report builder, this is Jeremiah, is the fact that you don't have to select tabular, summary, or matrix anymore. It's just so much more intuitive to be able to just drag the column groupings to where you want and then select whether or not you want the summary totals at the bottom of the screen. I think that's much better than having to click on the little drop-down thing and then miss the part that you actually wanted to click and some little shifty errors. So I'm so excited for it.
Yes, love that.
Oh, okay. Now, is that real, or are you just making fun of me because I missed the call and you get to see it?
This is Joy. It's totally real.
It's totally real. And you can now, there'll be a column on the left-hand side where your field picker was before. So separate from the field picker, you can order your columns now in an actual column itself, kind of like you do when you vote the various get survey information. You move the little options around to put them in the order that you want. Same thing.
Oh,
Steve, now
anything else? Like, did they have ice cream or something?
well, it does require you to upgrade all your pick list values to multi-select.
You know, for that
Maybe.
functionality, I may I may have to give like dusting off my Roman Catholicness. I may have to give like a papal dispensation to multi-pick lists.
I think you should participate in their beta panel, though. They should just do everything Steve.
Oh, I'm totally on it.
Leave it there. All right, there you go. Awesome. Yay, we made Steve's day.
This is Susan. I've been playing with the report builder in my sandbox, and it does take, while simple, it's almost, you get used to the old way, and it does take a while to kind of get into the groove. But I think it will be really good. I like those toggle buttons that Jeremiah mentioned, and I think they're going to continue to enhance that user experience with it. But it seems like it's going to be a really good thing.
Mm-hmm. And you can lock down, what was it, filter results, so that you can allow people to either change them or not change them, so they won't mess up reports if you want to control that.
Yep, you can do that today in Lightning.
In Lightning, okay.
Hi, this is Joy. One more thing about the report builder that I was really excited about for the change from Lightning is that you don't have to save the report before you run it.
Which is about time. That was one of the biggest things I hate about running reports on Lightning Experience.
It drove me back to Classic every time.
Yep, same here.
Any other favorites that you guys heard about or saw, or?
So this is Joy again, and I'm just going to keep talking if someone doesn't shut me up. In the console, like when you open up a record, you can like tell it to open up related records as well, which I thought was really fantastic, because when my service team opens up their cases, they can open up the account or the contact that's related to it right in the same space without having to go through and click it open. And so my sales console users are getting excited about stuff too. So we'll see how it goes.
That's cool. Fewer clicks, the better. That's awesome.
I'm really excited, this is Jeremiah, about the dynamic component in the app builder, because when an opportunity, say, turns to a certain stage, I can show a component that says, like, hey, you're at an agreement stage, so let's create an agreement, or your opportunity's live, yay, good job, or whatever. I'm just excited that I can like start to tailor the experience based on where that opportunity or account is in its life cycle to help us better manage our Salesforce instance.
Yeah, that's a great feature. I'm looking forward to playing around with that with Flow, because one of the annoyances I always have with Lightning Experience and Flow is you can put the component there, but then the flow is just always running. You don't have the option to be able to say, well, I only want it to run at a certain point within the record life. So hopefully be able to combine it with that dynamic capability to be able to have it, different flows show up depending on different criteria.
Well, I would think that would be a must, wouldn't it, Brian? Because if your flow is constantly running, isn't that taking up processing?
Well, it's screen flows, so it does whatever it does to open up the very first screen, right? So, but it's one of those things that if I think of the number of flows that I've created that use screens that are record based, they are always going to be used within certain circumstances. And in Classic, it's not that big of a deal. You just have people either click on a link or click on a button when they're ready to launch it. But with Lightning, if you're using the component Dragon, it's just there and it's open right away, which is great for if you have a flow that's constantly being used throughout the entirety of the record life. But if it's something like, hey, we want you to go through this flow in order to close your opportunity, or we want you to go through this flow in order to create multiple different pieces of information, but we only want you to be able to do that once you've done certain things within that record. You didn't have that capability easily in Lightning Experience. So hopefully that flexibility can now be added back in.
I see. Cool. Any other cool things that you guys have seen along the way that might be buried that we're not aware of?
Yeah? You want mommy or daddy to come get you?
So are you looking for just for things in winter
Andrea,
18
I'm
or
on the
lightning
phone
in
if you can
general?
get Lucian.
Susan, what were you saying?
Were you looking for just things, favorites for winter 18 or lightning in general?
Lightning in general. I'm assuming there's so much coming at us so quickly, and if we're not using it, regularly, there's got to be things that we don't know about.
Well, one of the favorite things I like about it is the search by tab functionality, search by object, if you will, and some of the advanced searching that goes on, spell checking. And I really like that you can favorite things on a tab and see list views from a tab.
I know what you're talking about. Upper right-hand corner, there's the drop down for the favorites. Yes, that's pretty cool.
Hey, this is Kalyan. I'm new to this discussion here. Just wanted to know, I know that we are discussing lightning. I have a question with flows and how can I, you know, make it much better kind of stuff. Let me know if you want to take that discussion. We can start it now or later in time.
I'm sorry, do you have a question about flows? Because we can talk about
Yeah,
anything anytime. Okay, yeah,
yes, okay.
absolutely. Ask away.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I'll give you my use cases that we have something that we are bringing um, to Salesforce, and it's related to field service lightning, and it has to be in mobile. So the only option I have is field service lightning mobile application that they have, and the only way I can put something extra, which is a questionnaire, which runs for actually 7 pages from the application I'm coming from. So the only way I can go is making it a flow, different type of flows, field service mobile flow. I'm asking that can we make the flow more, having some kind of, can I paint the flow page to give it more different color in the background, making it multiple columns or kind of rendering things on the flow kind of stuff? Can I make it dependent on one another? Um, what are the limits and how far I can go with the flows?
This is Brian. So with flow, and I'm going to preface this with I'm not experienced with the field service lightning mobile portion, so some of this may not apply. But with flow, you can make things in 2 columns in lightning, but you don't get to have really any control of the layout beyond that. It's a setting when you drag it in the app builder, you drag the lightning component over, you can actually say if you want it in 2 columns. If you want to do any other styling, at least right now that flow has to be embedded into a Visualforce page, and then the styling information is retained on the Visualforce page. What you can do for styling is pretty darn limited. You can't really move where those fields are going to be displayed, but you can do some colorization and things like that. But in my experience, what you can get out of it is so limited, it's usually not worth the pain and effort to do it. And then, of course, because it's in a Visualforce page, you have to deal with the fact that it's in a Visualforce page. So I think it really comes down to what are the specifics that you're trying to do. Let me see if I can find the handy-dandy article that I had that kind of walks through flow styling.
Okay.
And I'll get that pasted in the chat here.
Okay. Yeah. Is that Brian?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, Brian. Yeah, you're right. The field service lightning doesn't allow a couple of things like the formulas, which is kind of a minimum things we need in a flow. It doesn't allow a couple of things. And when I'm moving the page to flow, I just have to understand what I can do and what I can't do. Um, I found one thing though in the things that if I move, there's a text field towards the last the last option, the text field. I can make some kind of tabular columns, but that only uses for displaying, not for input things and all. So I was stuck there a little bit. Okay, thank you for the link. Um, but
Yeah, it is very, very limited. And, the moment you shove that into a Visual Force page, if you're using Lightning Experience, it's going to change the behavior a bit. And again, because you're going to be using it in a mobile environment, that's a whole nother ball of wax.
yeah. And also, I don't think we can use a Visual Force page for that field service Lightning mobile thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would have been
And
surprised.
yeah, and this is Philip. Yeah, what you're talking about for the app extensions for field service, yeah, you're right. You can't
Correct.
do Visual Force.
Correct.
You can do Flow, but you can also do Lightning Components and Lightning App. So
Yep.
you've got that jump. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit more complex and more setup time compared to a Visual Flow, but you do have some options when it comes to a little bit enhanced screen functionality and styling, right? So unfortunately, that's the jump you have to make. It's either Flow, Lightning Components with a Lightning app, or
Right.
I think the third option is you can actually connect an iOS app or web app to it. But then, yeah, you're passing a couple tokens back and forth. Yeah, you're right. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
Field Service has all these great Visual Force pages that are baked into the package, but you can't surface them into the new native app for iOS.
And the Lightning page things actually opens in Salesforce One instead of the mobile. So you need the connectivity. The main reason we were going there is because of the the offline capability, and
Right.
then that the lightning pages and all, they need to have the connectivity to be operated. So yeah, you're right. That's an option, and I was thinking that's the limitation there. But yes, thank you.
So speaking of mobile, is there a on-screen demo? I think I have a Chrome extension that I've used in the past to demonstrate from desktop to mobile, but that was obviously classic. Is there one for Lightning, or does it automatically translate? Does anyone know?
I didn't understand what you were asking for, the demo.
So you can demo, let's say, on a WebEx call. This is what it's going to look like on your mobile device.
I don't know, for the people who had, I don't have a Mac, but the people who has got Mac, they can do it through the QuickTime and all, right? So they can project their phone. That's what.
Oh, okay. So that's projecting the phone.
Yeah.
But there's a Chrome extension that I have seen, and I think I've used, that translates, and it's right on your screen. Gosh, I can't remember what it was called.
Oh, is that a developer tools you're talking about? In the Chrome, you go and make a developer tool. It shows how the page will look like in Salesforce One.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah, that's that in setting. You can go to developer tools, and you can change what are the different type of mobiles. Like if it is a iPad or iPhone 5, 6, 7, whatever you want to.
Oh,
And
very
that's
cool.
possible. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
But that works only for Salesforce One, but not for the other apps kind of stuff like the Lightning, the field service Lightning app. That will not work.
Okay. Do we have any other hands raised? Doesn't look like it. Do any of our non-MVPs have anything that they want to talk about since you haven't had a chance yet? And they don't have
Oh,
to just
I,
be lightning
I
questions.
forgot to say that I'm not an MVP though. So
Oh, no. You're fine. Yeah. I just want to make sure that everybody feels welcome to ask any question they want. It does not matter if it's lightning or if you're a brand new admin and you're looking for guidance, this is the place to ask those questions.
Circling back, Jackie, I think there is also a Chrome extension that you can use. It's called Salesforce One Simulator, and it will allow you to demo Salesforce One inside of Google Chrome and say, like, this is what it will look like. Here's all of your actions and how the navigation looks and all that good stuff.
That's
If
the
you
word I
don't,
was looking for. Thank you, simulator. And so does it automatically, do you know if it automatically shows lightning? Or is there...
it isn't used for the Lightning experience. It's just used for Salesforce One. But you can do the just log into your desktop on. Are you thinking the preview mode in Lightning?
I was just thinking if I'm creating stuff in Lightning on my desktop, how's that going to translate into the mobile experience?
Oh, in the app builder, there is a setting up towards the top where you can click what your app page will look like in a desktop, tablet, or a mobile form factor.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. That's exactly what I was looking for. Thank you.
No
thank
problem.
you. That's I did not know. Okay, so is that a little bit different than the developer tools that I was talking about?
Yeah, so when you're actually inside of the app builder, in the upper right-hand corner, you can choose which form factor you want to view it on, your app page.
I see. Okay, nice to know. Thank you.
Jeremiah mentioned something kind of important there. There's a preview button, so you can actually preview the Lightning experience without turning it on.
Oh, that is important.
And it's under setup inside of the Lightning Migration Assistant. Kind of like a try it before you buy it.
That's fantastic. I'm going to start sharing all of these tidbits that you all have provided with my user group. So this is great stuff. Thank you.
If no one has any other questions, I have one more. Can I go ahead?
Please go ahead.
Again, coming back to the offline capability. I know that Salesforce One has some offline capability. I've been to the page and so that there are 7 objects I can choose for offline capability and they will be cached and all these things. Do anyone knows? But I could not see any of my custom objects there. So is that a limitation or is that something that I did not do? That's why I did not see the custom objects there. Anyone?
I think you might have stumped this group.
I can't. I don't have the capability to show that on the screen. Like I don't know that Chrome extension things and all. I don't have it. Otherwise, I would have shown you what I'm talking about. If you let me open my Salesforce One app.
Jared, are you able to?
You using the latest version of the offline capabilities or an older version?
I just updated the Salesforce One app, and when I go to where it is, when I go to settings on the Salesforce One, and then click on offline, and then there is offline preferences, and then it shows 7. It says select up to 7 items to access offline. There, I see all the objects and all, and I see only the standard objects. I was just wondering, could I get any custom objects there and with some settings that I can change, or actually that option is not cannot be done?
That might be a question that if we can't answer today, we might have to get back with you.
Sure, and, or maybe if you can, you guys can forward me to someone. I can, or like if I just want. And today is my first day here, so I don't know whether this question is for this group.
Oh, it is definitely.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So offline capabilities to show custom objects.
So it's interesting. I'm actually looking right now.
Okay.
Just to test it. And it's like I'm seeing some custom objects come up in my offline preferences, but I'm seeing some that are not.
Interesting. Then that gives me some hope.
Yeah, I've set it up with custom. I'm trying to think what makes them unique in the setup. It's just been so long since I've set one up. But yeah, you should be able to.
Well, the ones I'm not seeing are actually child objects. So, or excuse me, objects that have a master detail relationship to like account or something. So that's actually my silo standard ones that just have lookups or just fields or whatever. Those are coming up, and custom objects from packages are coming up as well.
Okay, no, you're right. And the custom object I'm trying to get there has a master detail to a standard object. I had to do master detail because with the lookup, some of the functionalities that Salesforce has for field service would not work. So okay, interesting.
That might be a question you might want to post on Answers and see what other kind of guidance that you get or other scenarios that people have discovered. See if anyone can solve that master detail situation.
Okay, when you're saying answers, you're saying that answers dot
the Answers community.
Okay. I'm actually new to Salesforce world, so I'm sorry. Stupid questions.
No, there's no such thing as a stupid question. So have you been on Success Community, success.salesforce.com?
Yes.
Okay. So when you log into that site, in the upper left portion of the tabs, there's one that's called Answers. And you can post any question that you want there. And then the whole Salesforce world will see it. So you might get all kinds of guidance based on everyone's experience.
Awesome. Okay.
So that might help you dive into the master detail situation. Absolutely.
Yes. Okay. And also I was asking if anybody has used that functionality and seen the caching thing, like can we control the caching thing, like say 7 days cache or like how many MB GB cache kind of stuff? Can we control any of these things? I didn't see those capabilities. I didn't see those options there. Is there anything from the Salesforce side, from the website, we can do it? If anybody knows, please let me
know. Sorry, Salesforce One or Field Service Mobile or both?
So Field Service Mobile actually has an option that I know in things. Yeah, you can go and change the days of things that actually that for that thing it caches for how many days ahead you have the appointments and all, right? So it will cache from appointments to accounts and everything for those appointments and all. But for Salesforce One, there is nothing like timeline kind of stuff. Like there's nothing like for 7 days, if you're doing for 1 day or 2 days or 7 days, what to cache? Even I don't know what they are doing behind the scene. How can I control it and all these things?
Yeah, you got it. That's exactly the point I wanted to make was I know Field Service Mobile has it in the admin settings.
Right.
You can toggle that a number of days. But yeah, I haven't seen anything with Salesforce One. Seems it's pretty black boxed from what I've seen in my opinion. You just select your objects and you can force a cache. So you can go into it and force the cache, but yeah, there's nothing really else there.
I'm just afraid to tell someone actually do it in production, because let's say that we have 1 million account and I'm saying that account object to be cached. Will it really take all the 1 million and put it there, or like um, I'll try that with some sandboxes maybe.
Yeah, and when I force a cache, I can see that it says syncing or caching recent accounts. So yeah, I'd be curious what the line is for that. Like how many is it actually doing?
Okay. Yep. And while on Salesforce One, is there any way I can change or restrict if I want to change when I log into Salesforce One? I see that I get that home page, right? The page, the landing page. How can I change it? How can I say that don't show me the landing page, take them to always the account page, or take them to always to this particular page kind of stuff, or any custom visualization page, visual force page?
Instead of the actual login page where they enter their credentials? Is that what you're asking?
No. No, they would be doing the login. Otherwise, they would not go in, right? So they do log in. Then after that, you go to your landing page, like where you see what you follow and anybody assigned anything, you liked anything, and all these things, like a chatter page, right? I Can I say that, okay, after login, you go to this custom visual force page. That's it. Or custom lightning page, however it is. Can we control that way? That's saying that, okay, the user would not go to this kind of things. I totally will control how they will navigate within Salesforce One.
That's a good question. Has anyone ever had cause to do that?
I'm sorry, my use case why I was doing is I was trying to get a way around that what FSL mobile doesn't provide and what Salesforce One provides, and trying to do that same thing through Salesforce One. So
That might be another question for the answers community if this group hasn't had any experience or cause to do
yes,
that.
yes.
Yeah.
Could you repeat the question?
Okay, sure. When I log into Salesforce One page, I when I log in, once I go to Salesforce One and then login page comes up, I log in and then I land in the chatter page, right? The page that shows all these things, and then in the left hand side, I can go and choose what are the other objects and all these things that will have. My question is, can I set it up such a way that after logging in, the users will go directly to a custom page that I designed for them. It may be an object page, or like an object direct object to another custom object, or a lightning page that I totally uh, I created a separate one. Can we control that way?
So instead of going to the chatter page upon open, it goes to another page that you specify?
Correct. I mean, I don't want people to, let's say this way, that people will have the access to objects and the things, but I want to control how much stuff they would be seeing or doing on this screen. I don't want them to go away. um, and doing the chatter things, but they can access the chatter through another object. Like every object will have their own chatter things, right? So I I I want to control the whole thing. So can I build a lightning page and then navigate through that kind of stuff rather than letting them go to the first chatter page kind of stuff?
So the benefit of taking them directly to Chatter is that as soon as they log in, they can see what's been happening on records that they're following and key information that they might have missed.
Hmm. I just don't want them to see that page.
Is it a business requirement or a training concern? It sounds kind of like you're looking for a custom mobile solution instead of the standard
Yes.
best practices.
Yeah, kind of. I'm trying to build my POC here, and uh, my POC actually was revolving around field service mobile, but field service mobile doesn't have much of things around the flows, so that's why I'm taking this Salesforce one route, um, and trying to build my POC. So it's kind of business. I can't say business things, but it will be um, things from my side that what Salesforce is capable and for, and all these things I have to show it to my stakeholders and all.
Yeah, and I get what you're asking. You know, field service, the field service Lightning mobile app. You know, for those of you that haven't seen any of what that looks like, I mean, it's a very, very crafted experience into the life of like a field service mobile tech. And Chatter is actually kind of in the background with the app. When you get into the app, it actually takes you directly to your schedule, your appointments, and you can pull that up. And within each record page, there is a section kind of in the middle for the feed that you can post and, you know, take pictures or do chatter posts or whatever. But it's not at the forefront. But what you're saying, which is correct, when you get into the customization of field service, you know, there's only so many things you can do because it's a native iOS app. So all the great tools with, you know, Flow and Visualforce with controllers and styling and even some of the components, at least for right now, we just can't do in field service mobile. So you're left with quick action pages or quick actions and those standard page layouts, which you can only do so much. So I get what you're saying. You're trying to give those users the same crafted experience of being a field tech in Salesforce One. I will say for what you're specifically asking for, I don't know if that's possible. I don't know. I haven't seen or heard anywhere where you can override what's the default tab you go into in Salesforce One.
I can't speak for the service, but I believe Salesforce One, the order of the tabs, the first one listed is kind of what the default page is. And you could try moving that around and see if that meets your needs. There are some navigation limitations, though, when you look at the order of the tabs on the left-hand side.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to just as I was saying, I'm a bit of new in Salesforce world kind of stuff. So trying to get the things that will suit best in the scenarios and all.
So the reason I was asking earlier about, you know, the requirements and the experience, I kind of find that if you're doing a proof of concept, I would start simple and don't go in overly customizing from the get-go. Give your users a chance to experience, give feedback, and because you know you're going to continuously improve it and enhance it, but you just don't want to set it up so there's going to be so much technical debt for you to maintain it. Because that's kind of why people buy a platform like Salesforce, is to reduce the amount of development costs involved. So that's just someone that's been there and done that. That's kind of my key tip.
Right. You're right. And the thing is that they already have some .NET things, and they can do those kind of the questions and all. Like field service is something that somebody comes to your house and fixes something, and then says and spends some product and says that I'm done. Here with my use cases, they also do that and also asks you like a bunch of questions and get answers from that. And that part is not there in Salesforce, which is there from the native application that I'm trying to replace. I'm saying that okay, that application is old. Let's go to Salesforce, and that's where
How many questions do they ask?
when I said bunch, that is about 1,000.
1,000?
Yes, there are about 40 pages of questions, and it's a kind of it's sophisticated .NET pages and all, and they do it in a tablet, having offline capability and all these things. So Salesforce, I'm sure they would be there in someday, but maybe they are not there yet. Um, and Salesforce, I know there is a way to do it, which is like going through whole total different things, like going into Salesforce SDK, that mobile SDK they have. Might be if you go there, maybe you can do it, but that's too much of work kind of stuff, as you were saying. uh, Very very custom work. um, so I'm just trying to see anything that Salesforce provides, and I can tweak and give them something that would be at least meeting their expectations, not expecting and not exceeding right now. So I'm still trying out.
And Susan, you're right. I just tried that with the Salesforce One navigation. Good call. Whatever the first object is in setup, that's what it comes up as.
Okay, that's how it is then. Okay.
And that's why we call it Answers Live, people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I can change the home page to something else. Like home is generally the first page, but I can move it to later. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. If you go into setup, you'll see Salesforce One navigation, and you can change the order of it.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, doing a time check here. Looks like we've got about 3 minutes left. Are there any other questions? Any other tips that anyone wants to share before we conclude? All right, so we meet again in a couple of weeks. Watch Twitter for the next RSVP URL. We are going to attempt sending out emails. Zoom does not have that capability, and that's the tool that we've been graciously given and appreciate, but it does not have email capabilities. We're going to attempt shooting those emails out to everyone just via a dedicated Gmail account, and cross our fingers that we can manage the outbound and return responses and unsubscribes and all of that. So thank you everyone for your time. Thank you MVPs for joining us. We so very much appreciate your time and your expertise and your willingness to give us this hour today.
Yes.
Okay, good, Jared. I was going to say, can you hear us?
Yes. Yeah. No. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Great conversation. Great questions, and we'll certainly look forward to seeing you on the next office hours.
Everyone have a great weekend, and we'll see you in the cloud.
See y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.